What's the minimum yearly income you'd like your future husband to make?
I don't know. I'm not like, I'm probably.
Do you want him to make more than you or as much as you?
I don't think, to me, it matters because I know that I'm going to always provide for myself and I'm not going to depend on my partner's like income fully to.
Do you want to have kids?
Yes.
Would you be okay with dating a man who wants to be a stay-at-home husband?
No.
So his money doesn't matter?
I think.
Okay, what would be the minimum income? Would you date a guy who works at McDonald's while you're...
As long as we're not on the poverty line, if I loved him and I was able to provide as well, like it wouldn't matter to me because money is not as significant as a connection.
Okay, what about you?
It would definitely have to be the same amount or more as I'm making.
So how much?
It wouldn't be less. I don't know. I would say, like, preferably if I could pick like a number, like above 200K a year.
More than 200,000. What about you?
I think where I live matters, so I'd say at least maybe above, or no, minimum 80K.
80K? Okay.
Yeah.
I think 60 to 100.
Okay.
I actually don't care as long as you're working as hard as you can.
Okay, he's working really hard at McDonald's.
That is all that matters to me. Try your hardest and we'll get there eventually.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Around 6 figures, give or take.
So 90 to 110?
Yeah.
Okay. What about you?
A grown man. Probably
You gotta
like
lower the mic or fix your posture.
6 figures.
6 figures. So what does that mean? That's either $100,000 or 999.
Yeah, like minimum 100.
Minimum 100,000.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you?
Doesn't matter.
How much does your husband make? So if your husband stopped working, you'd be fine with it?
Well, no, I mean, he has to work, but it doesn't matter. I don't have a requirement as to how much.
Do you have kids? Or
No.
do you want kids? Or?
No. So
Okay.
it's a little different situation because we don't have kids. We both work.
Okay. What about you?
With the degree I'm supposed to be getting, like, in a couple of years or a year or whatever, however long it takes, I would want them to at least make half of what I make or more. So for an accountant, like when they start, it's like 90,000 or 80,000. So I would want them to make at least 40 to 50,000.
Okay. What about you?
My husband and I make the same amount of money.
So.
So, are you wanting to know how much we
Sure,
make?
the number, I guess.
65K.
Okay. Next.
I would say at least half of what I make, and hopefully you're also working on growing your career because that's what I do. So I don't really have like a set number.
All right. What about you?
Without kids, 75. With kids, 150.
Okay. All right. And then height. How tall are you, and what's the minimum height that you would date?
I'm 5'5". It's probably like
how tall do you want your... Let's not do minimum for you to date because you would maybe date a guy who's willing to take you to golf and stuff or whatever. Minimum height for your husband.
Wait, what?
Don't worry about it. Minimum height for
golf? What? I'm
golf
confused.
and stuff.
Oh, I know what place
Golf
you're talking
and
about.
stuff?
That place is
It's a
fun.
putt-putt place. Isn't it?
It's a golf.
Oh my God, do I have to... Conceivably, a woman would go on a date with a guy that she's not attracted to because the guy is offering her like a experience. Oh, let me take you to this concert that's your favorite musician. Okay, he's like a dwarf. You might go on a date with him. Does that make sense?
No, I wouldn't because that's not my character. Like, if I'm not interested in...
But could you conceive that a woman would go on a date with a guy that she's not attracted to because he's offering to take her to the Bahamas?
Sure.
Okay, so...
Also, how would you feel if you hadn't eaten breakfast this morning?
What?
How would you feel if you hadn't eaten breakfast this morning?
Hangry?
Somebody answered it for her, so... Somebody whispered it.
Okay, well, that would have been my answer regardless.
How tall are you? And what would be the minimum height for like your future husband, the guy you're going to spend your life with?
Okay, I'm 5'5", probably like 5'2".
Okay.
I don't really care about height.
5'2", okay.
I'm 5'6", so he would have to be same height or taller.
Okay.
I'm 5'8", so I would prefer like I don't know. I kind of want to wear heels if I could. So like 5'10".
Okay. What about you?
I'm 5'10". I'd rather them be 5'11" or higher.
Sure.
I'm 5'5". I'd say like 5'7", 5'8".
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm 5'5", so like taller than me, 5'8" and higher.
I'm 5'9", so probably 5'10" or higher.
I'm 5'7". Minimum would probably be 5'6", because that's my husband. He's a little shorter.
Mm.
I'm 4'11" and I love wearing heels, so I would want someone who probably is like 5'4" or higher.
I'm 5'7", and my preference would be 5'7" or above.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 5'3", and my preference would also be 5'3" or above.
I'm 5'7", and my preference would be 5'10" or above.
And then all y'all who are in relationships, how tall is your boyfriend?
6 foot.
6'1".
5'11".
5'6".
Okay. This is kind of interesting. All right. So what was the next thing?
Brian, how much would a woman have to make for you to be with her?
Nothing. Don't care.
That's crazy.
Don't care.
It's wild.
Now, I'd like her to not be in debt, like substantial debt, but don't care. In terms of her income, don't care.
Man, that's weird. It's almost like...
differences.
I mean, it seems like you have really low standards, though. Surely you expect her to work and try her absolute best to make money, right, Brian?
No, don't care. Don't care at all.
Why do you have such low standards, though? Why shouldn't she make $150,000 a year? Like, I was just thinking about this as I was hearing the answers, and I was like, man, I must have really low standards. I feel like my wife should make exactly what I make or higher. She's not trying hard enough.
I don't think men prioritize that when it comes to attraction. It just doesn't matter.
Oh, that's really weird. Then almost like, wait, there's a position of privilege again that we're looking at?
Can I chime in here?
Sure.
Yeah, I would love to hear it.
Because I did say the highest number. I think just realistically, looking from an economic perspective,
Well, you mean height or money?
Financial.
No, I think she said 200K.
Oh, just kidding. Not quite the highest, but I said
go ahead.
150.
Okay, yeah,
you
not quite
mentioned
the highest, but
150.
go
You
ahead.
mentioned
I get it.
150. I think for me, when I started dating my boyfriend, he was and still is dealing with a lot of debt. He was a high school math teacher making absolutely no money. And it was kind of one of those things that it's like I wasn't attracted to him for his money. He's making great money now. He's in gas and oil acquisition, so good for him. But with that, I don't think it's necessarily a financial thing for me. I think my answer just had a lot more to do with like realistic economics.
It's expensive.
Well, I don't understand. Do you think that Brian doesn't want to deal with realistic economics?
No, not necessarily. I mean,
well, then how come he doesn't care? He just must have low standards, right?
For me, it wasn't necessarily a standard thing. If he was making absolutely nothing, I love him for who he is. If he goes broke, we'll figure it out.
That's not what you said, though. What you said was, you said when asked, how much do you want him to make? You said it's going to be between X and Y would be the minimum amount that I would accept. Otherwise not trying hard enough, essentially.
But I think that there's a difference between wanting and needing. So I don't need him to make any money. Obviously, I would want him to make a financial input into our marriage and into our children.
How much does a man need to make for you? And the answer was between X and Y. Interestingly enough, for Brian, the answer is 0. And that's really weird. It really seems like there's a standard here, which is from a position of privilege from women, where they put a requirement for what a man needs to make or he's not trying hard enough. And yet when I ask the man, he says, I don't give a shit. That's just bizarre to me.
Going back, though, because one of the questions that was asked was, would you marry somebody who wanted to be a stay-at-home dad? I would. Mm-hmm. And so that was a conversation with my boyfriend at the time.
Yeah, but that's still a resource allocation thing, right? Like I'm still
100%.
getting. So like Brian, for instance, I didn't ask him if there would be a requirement she was a stay-at-home mom. He just said flat out, no. There's no income requirement. Regardless of circumstance, no income requirement. So meaning, if she wasn't having his kids, he still didn't give a shit if she made 0. That's really strange. That really seems like there's a standard here, which is really high for men and really low for women. That's all I'm saying.
I think the standard for me, at least, just falls on the fact that if we need to be able to put a roof over our heads, I think going back to even what you said, Liz, okay. Even if just enough to get by. If we lived on a tent under a bridge and we loved each other, it didn't matter. It's just a matter of having a roof over our head and food in the fridge and being able to send our kids to school.
And to be fair, the question was of preference,
Correct.
like not like a necessity. If that makes sense.
Want versus need.
Yeah.
No, well, what was the question? Did anybody even tell me what the question was? Anybody?
The question was,
how much money
do you want your partner to make?
Like
their
prefer,
salary.
I'm pretty sure would you prefer, wasn't it?
I
I'm
mean,
sure
I don't
it
know
was
the exact
prefer.
wording, but I got.
I think it was something along the lines of, what's the minimum income you'd like your future husband to make? Something.
What's the minimum?
I mean, my answer was preferably. It's not like like, it can be changed depending on how I actually feel for that person in the situation, but preferably.
It's the
Then how come there was qualifiers like try? Like, he's not trying hard enough if he's not doing X, Y, and Z, right? He's not trying hard enough if he's not making this income. That's bizarre. That sounds like a qualifier. Like,
I mean, I didn't
you
say
don't
that.
think he's good enough, right?
I didn't say that.
Who said that?
I do got to move it on. Andrea, you said that men need to act like men and step up.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? Women need to step down? What does that mean?
No, like men like to be chased nowadays, but I think it's like they're kind of confused. Like they say that they are attracted to women, but they are not chasing women. They want to be chased. So that's like more masculine energy, and like they're kind of looking for that masculine energy, and so they're not like giving that. So like they're kind of really looking for a man, like they're not.
So they're
like,
are you saying they're gay? Or what,
like maybe they are gay, but they don't want to admit it, and so like they're going after these women and like, oh, let me contact like 5 women at once, like to distract himself that like that like maybe.
Wait, so men who enjoy it if a woman pursues they're less masculine.
Like let's like they'll be like, oh, let's hang out. Okay, here's my address.
Let me just try to get through things quickly here. What's up?
Well, I hate to psychologize, but have you been with a guy who came out later as gay?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I have not.
Okay. So do you think women need to act like women and step up? Or I don't know if it would be step down.
What do you mean?
Well, you said men need to act like men and step up.
Yeah.
So do women need to act like women and step up?
Like,
or step down? I don't know.
We just keep our standards, and like, if we don't like how they're approaching us, then like we need to just move on, and because I don't know, I'm not gonna be like, oh, this guy is just not giving me the attention that I want. It's like he's asking me to like go to him. Like, I don't want to do that. Like, he needs to come to me. Like, you shouldn't be chasing a man.
What if he's just not that into you?
Then don't go out with him then.
Okay.
He's just not into, then don't go out with him.
But I mean, so what does it
Don't give
mean?
him
Like, what does it
attention.
mean for men to act like men and to step up? What does that mean? Just to pursue, or what do you mean?
Yeah, like they should be the ones chasing, not the ones chased.
I don't know about chasing. I think maybe men should pursue. I don't know if they should be chasing.
It's the same thing.
I think it's different. Chasing is the girl, you've asked her out 7 times and I'm busy. I'm stuck. No. Pursuit is different than chase, I think. I mean, maybe to you it's the same, but.
Okay, men should pursue, not be pursued.
Okay. I'm not going to lie.
Brian, it actually occurs to me as I was sitting here pondering this, the last round of questions. I'm sorry to bring this back, but this is actually bothering me, so I'm going to bring it up.
There is just a lot to get through.
I know.
There's
Very
a lot.
Quickly, though. Very quickly. I got to understand this. If you really thought it was about preference, why wouldn't you say millions of dollars or billions? If you honestly thought that the money thing was about
We
preference,
said minimum.
why wouldn't you
Minimum.
say... Why
We
wouldn't you
didn't say
I want
what
a man-
the
hang on,
most.
hang on.
We didn't say
Let me finish
max.
the question. Let me finish the question. Why wouldn't you say, I want a man who's 6'5" and has millions
Your question
of
is
dollars.
answered.
Hang
You
on.
said minimum. 6'5"
Just
is
chill out before you start spurging. Why wouldn't you have said that if you really thought it was about preference?
Because
Why?
it was minimum. The question was, how much money would you like him to make minimum?
Yeah, if it was
There's
about
your
the
answer.
minimum, that was a preference. Why wouldn't you say millions?
Because it's
Because
unrealistic.
Who wouldn't prefer that as a minimum?
Because I'm trying to also make sure that I get by and I'm not putting unrealistic standards on him.
Yeah, but it's a preference. If you really thought it was a preference, why would you just say, I prefer at minimum $80 million? Like, who wouldn't prefer that?
Because I'm not trying to put unrealistic expectations on men.
It's because you didn't see it as a preference. That was cope, and it has to be cope, because otherwise everybody in the right mind would say my minimum preference, if it was just off what I preferred, would be $100 trillion, right? Wouldn't everybody say that?
No, I don't want that kind of money.
I wouldn't either.
You don't want that kind of money?
No.
Oh, okay.
I feel like if you have too
All right.
money,
I do.
if you have too
All right,
much
we can
money,
bring
you
it
have
back. We
nothing
can
to
bring it
work
back.
for.
Yes.
We get shamed, so.